You keep doing that.
I keep doing it because it's wonderful and amazing.
You can only really see my head. Okay, now you can see my shoulders.
Tall.
I'm not tall, though.
Tall. Okay, this is another Patreon request. If anyone is due a Patreon backseat critique request, please let me know because I have mine like a sieve.
She does, really.
And this is the Boondock Saints. I got the feeling there's going to be discussion in this one. But first, you point out something that you noticed towards the end.
So we have the 18 rated UK cut, and I had to look online to basically when it came out on DVD until 2006 there was an R-rated version and then after 2006 they released an unrated version, but only the R-rated version or 18 rated one was released in the UK, and there's a whole bunch of scenes missing, like the scene where besides like some of the fight scenes being pared down, there's a scene where they call their mom in the Republic, and they cut the entire court scene at the end, the entire one that like makes the film worthwhile. And we're like, that was different.
Yeah,
okay.
Luckily we had both previously seen the film,
several
so... Well, I think this is my second time seeing it.
I've seen it like several times. So there you go.
And you would?
I would, yeah. Well, no, see, okay, back in the day when I was in my 20s, like, we watched Boondock Saints literally basically every St. Patrick's Day. We'd drink Jameson, we'd eat steak and potatoes and stuff like that, because I was with a whole bunch of people who were like, oh, what do you do? Something has changed. Now hey. Now you can see more of my shoulders and chest. Oh, there you go. But, yeah. Oh, and Billy Connolly being there at the end. Who's this guy? Oh, he just knows their prayer. Sure, it's grand.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, we would watch this because this was, like, really Irish stuff, even though with my grandfather actually being Irish, pretty much was the closest thing to someone from the Republic, and that's, like, basically 1/4. But, yeah. And we were like, oh, yeah, oh. There we go. Oh, it's broken.
Yeah, we don't have a tripod right now.
I'll just hold this the whole time. You find something small and we'll stick under there. Here, there's a fork.
Oh, this is so high tech.
Save Patreon. It's not working. Okay, there we go. Just don't breathe or anything.
Okay.
So yeah, we're like, oh, we're so Irish. Oh, it's grand, and because you had to. It was so cool in the mid to late 90s. Have Irish blood in you. Tom was German. Tom was German and English. So he, of all people, shouldn't have been into it. But we were. We were.
I do not understand the appeal of this film.
It's like one of those cult classics,
I watched it probably for the first time about a year ago. And
seriously?
Yeah. Remember you told me a bit about the fuck when I was doing the fuck episode.
Oh, right.
And so I watched it to get that clip.
Fair play.
But I do not understand the appeal. Apart from this is the perfect film for people who want to be Irish, Americans who want to be Irish. Apart from all of that, I don't want to use the...
My ex-best friend's little brother has the prayer tattooed in his back.
I don't want to call it cultural appropriation because they're not even Irish. He's
Italian.
It's people attempting to culturally appropriate, but it's not actually the thing. But
well, I mean, it's set in Boston, so statistically speaking, people of Boston are a bit more likely to be of Irish descent.
Irish
Just like
descent.
people in Philly, as opposed to people in California.
I know, but Irish descent though, it's not. This film it would be perfect for Irish Americans because because like Irish Americans, this one thinks it's Irish, but it's not. It's very not.
Your man had his bunker. He had Chucky Allah on the top.
Oh, that one, the NORAID bunker.
Yeah.
Which I think it was NORAID.
It's supposed to be anyway.
That was the legal organization in the United States.
You're not supposed to say that. It's sectarian here, so you can't say it. Although when we were in Germany, we were in Berlin on St. Patrick's Day, and we walked by the British Embassy. One of the guys was with us from Donegal. He wanted to get a GAA jersey with the proclamation on the back, but it didn't arrive in time, so he started sounding sectarian slogans. So we're like, would you stop that? Our lecturer's like, what are you doing? Like, nothing, come along.
So I think they got their weapons from NORAID, but this is so...
Oh, come off, the Northern Irish aren't terrorists. We love them. Let's send them some more money. I don't know what they do with it.
It's because Irish Americans you're not Irish. You're American. With a little bit of Irish flavor, possibly, maybe, somewhere in the background.
Technically, my grandfather, even though he was born in the States, his parents were from Cork, so that does make him an Irish citizen, as far as the Republic's concerned.
Yeah, they'd be fine with it, yeah.
No, I think you can go, you should follow the rules, like Tara. Her dad is from the Republic.
Yeah,
so
I'm fine with that. No, I'm really talking about the ones who are like they have one great grandparent.
In 1837.
Or you're ones who were convinced they're honorary Irish because they were born in St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I had a friend who...
I'm talking about shit like that.
I had a friend who both she and her mom were born on St. Patrick's Day. So like, we're honorary Irish. I'm like, I don't think it works that way. You can talk to Dublin about that.
But you got all that. Okay. Beyond that, this film is the... Well, I was sure it was mid-90s, but it's actually late 90s. But it is the late 90s-ish thing ever. I mean...
Got the long flowing trench coats, got the, sunglasses.
You've got even down to the types of shirts they're wearing, they're just scream mid-90s. The colour of the blue jeans they're wearing. It's like, this is so late 90s.
Oh, I love blue jeans back in the 90s where, like, they weren't this, like, like, really thin denim. They were the really hard, crunchy denim that would just, like...
brighter coloured.
Would just, basically, like, you could go like this with your trousers, even if you just take them out of the laundry and stand them up and they'd stand up by themselves without starch. Because that's how... Why can't they bring back denim like denim used to be when it was, like, really thick and really great, and now you have this stonewashed bullshit. Like, the first time I saw that, like, I picked out a pair of jeans and I was like, I like these in the size, but do you have any new ones? Because these ones look used. And they're like, it's the style now, and they never came back. Continue.
But absolutely everything is mid-90s. And the way the film is done, it's clearly trying to be Quentin Tarantino. But it's like Quentin Tarantino if it was dropped on his head as a baby.
Yeah.
And
well,
this might have been made worse.
Not everyone can be Quentin Tarantino.
Oh yeah, but
some of us have to know.
This might have been just the problem with this cut that we watched.
Well, did you watch the uncut version?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I've seen the uncut one. Okay. But one thing I noticed while watching it this time is this film does a piss poor job of explaining shit. This film, you've got the main characters have this sort of shorthand with each other so they understand each other. However, they don't explain that to the general audience.
But I remember there being a lot more scenes with them in their neighborhood and stuff like that.
That might have helped. Maybe that in the longer version is better because it's been a year since I watched the longer version. Just going from this version, it's the audience has little idea of what's going on. And I can only guess that the guy who made it was convinced he would make this St. Patrick's Day tradition, so a bunch of Americans would watch it every St. Patrick's Day while getting drunk, and they wouldn't need to follow it. No one would see it sober.
I tell you what, there was one night though, we got this, we went to the State store in Pennsylvania, and we all chipped in for a crate of Great Ales of Scotland, and we watched Braveheart and Rob Roy, and it was 3 a.m, and we were so drunk in my basement apartment in Chester, PA, that literally, if we thought that we could go on and basically conquer England back, for what they did to Scotland, we would have done it. But fortunately, Derek convinced us probably it'd be better we just went to Denny's instead, so we did.
Did you at least watch that on St. Andrew's Day?
I don't know, it's just some random night in the summer.
You you don't even know what St. Andrew's Day is and you want to conquer stuff for Scotland.
No, but because of Braveheart and Rob Roy, I didn't really know anything about Scottish history, so the first time that we met, the first time that we actually talked on Skype, I really wanted to make a good impression, and she was like, "Oh, well, my parents are Scottish," and I said, "Oh no," I said, "Well, you know what? I really hope someday they can get their homeland back from the British," and because I didn't understand the difference between the English and the British, because you use the words interchangeably in America, and so she goes, "Is this Scottish or British?" I was like, hold on, there's someone at the door. And then I went and I held up the wiki of Scottish history because the movies made it sound like England tromped on in, killed everyone, raped all the women, and the Scottish people lived under subjugation until this day.
Well, cut out to this day, and you got there was a period of history when the English had conquered Scotland, but
right. But I thought that was still happening now, and then, we could have a UN
I'm pretty sure during that conversation I explained
like a Live 8 kind of.
It was about 600 years ago. The Scottish king took over England,
Shut up,
and then they joined together in one country 200 years later.
But anyway, I know the only stuff I know about Wales, for a long time came from the Englishman who went up a hill and came down a mountain. But now I've seen the incredible documentary children's series of
Ivor the Engine.
Oh my God, we're gonna get me drunk. Don't stop making that noise. Triggered. No, we're gonna get me drunk one night, and then I'm gonna do a live rift of Ivor the Engine. Google it. But so Boondock Saints. Sorry, Patron.
I do not understand the appeal. Perhaps if, I was brain damaged or Irish American or possibly, well, they're pretty much the same thing, I would appreciate it more.
Well, here's the thing. It's not.
I'm going to get so many annoyed comments.
It's not a bad movie. I just wouldn't consider it one of the great cornerstones of it. You know what it is? And I'm, as if I have glasses on right now. I'm seeing this a lot with the whole Ghostbusters controversy right now. It's one of those movies that you watch at a specific time in your life, or even if it's just that night, you're like, this is great, this is really awesome, and it becomes a favorite of yours, regardless of whether or not it's a good movie. I would say one of my favorite movies in the world.
So you connect it with the feelings of what surrounded it rather than itself.
Right. One of my favorite movies in the world is Practical Magic. It's a stupid, silly, romantic comedy. The book it's based on is actually pretty good. Check it out if you haven't ever read it. But it's very much a product of the 90s, as I went and I saw it with people who are really important to me, and they enjoyed it, and it reminds me of the autumn. I'll watch it a few times a year, and it's just one of those romantic comedies that I actually don't, it's not really, there's a romance subplot, but the thing is, it's not a great movie. It's an okay movie. It's cute. It's just, like when I went to see Force Awakens, I went and thinking, I hope it's really good, but I'm not expecting it to be what the original trilogy was for me, because I'm not the person I was when I saw the original trilogy. Like Ghostbusters. I saw Ghostbusters 1 and 2 when I was a kid. I was like, that's really nice, that's really cool. I wasn't as into it as other people were, and now people are losing their fucking mind about the remake. But the thing is, you have to go into this just, this is not going to be the same. I hope it's good. I hope I'm entertained. But it's not the same. And, a lot of people feel very strongly about this film.
And people bring their own context to it. Like, my context is unabashedly having low-level irritation for much of my life with Americans who think they're Irish.
True story. When she met my parents, and my sister-in-law Nicola was in the country with her, so she met my sister-in-law, who wasn't my sister-in-law at the time. It's complicated. But so, we met at the Iron Hill Brewery in Westchester. And so my dad leans across the table to me, and he always has this voice where he thinks he's talking stuff, but he's not. He's like, "Did you tell them your mom's Irish?" I'm like, no, they hate that. Although technically, if her father is a foreign birth, then technically it's enough to... She's half Irish, my mom.
Well, she hasn't gone after nationalization.
No, but she could, if she wanted to, she could. So that's...
Could.
But he's like, "Did you tell them that mom's like..." Shh, they hate that. Don't say it. But my sister-in-law and Hagan, they took it with grace and panache. So.
The other
until I spilled a soda all over the table.
The other big mid-90s thing in this was Willem Dafoe's character, Schmucker, because only...
Schmecker.
Schmecker? Oh,
yeah, Schmecker. Rhymes with pecker.
Okay. Basically, again, I thought it was mid-90s, it's late 90s, but only in that sort of period of time could you get that character to exist in that particular way, because... You've got the film being a sort of, R-rated, crimey type thing. It was still somewhat brave to have a gay main character, who was technically one of the heroes. But then at the same time, you've got the character is very homophobic, and the character is written as a eccentric / deranged straight man who has sex with men, and a homophobic straight man.
Could be on the down low.
No, he's openly gay, but characterization-wise, he's written as a straight man as a homophobic straight man who has sex with men, and it's that sort of writing.
Oh, he could get together with a neighbor from American Beauty.
Possibly.
Maybe a nice couple.
But the character, if they were making the film today, that character would be nothing like that today. Except maybe if it was a remake and they were referencing it. You know who he'd be like? He'd be kind of like quirky but brilliant, kind of like Adrian Monk, kind of like, Hercule Poirot, kind of like tetchy and weird and kind of... Possibly. Maybe if they were redoing it, it would be... If it was a remake, then they may well have made exactly the same as a reference to the original one. But if it was an original film being made today, it would not be the same.
Yeah.
I'd say he's more likely to be just perfectly fine about being gay. That cut the homophobia part out. And it was an interesting character choice, but I see that as an artifact of its time.
Fair play. I don't disagree. And then the cat was sitting on her lap, so we had to shield his eyes when the cat got killed, so he wouldn't be traumatized.
That poor grey cat.
He was sleeping, actually, so I don't think he had... It's like, look away, Mary, look away. But yeah, I mean, see, the thing is that like I feel that we're not really doing this justice as a backseat critique because I've already seen it multiple times. I already have my opinion.
And so
on
she didn't get the confusion, which I only saw it once a year ago. So the confusion, because you've seen it multiple times, so you were able to watch it multiple times and therefore know what they were going to do through having seen it before. While I didn't have that. There's a hell of a lot of this which did not make sense to me. It makes sense in retrospect, but you got to work out what the fuck they were doing rather than have it being made obvious. You're not following the story along at the same time in the same pace as it.
Yeah.
You've got to work it out in retrospect, which could be.
It does have the most 90s soundtrack though. I tell you what. I have roleplay World of Darkness tabletop games so much to DMs who used that soundtrack as part of their mix. You know, back in the day, we had, like, the big CD players that could hold and mix 6 CDs at a time. I think you know what I'm talking about. You kids out there. But, yeah, like, the whole, like, techno beat chant kind of stuff. Like, oh, that's so edgy. Oh, I'm going to base my World of Darkness character on, like, the guys from Boondock Saints, except for he's made a vampire, right? Well, his brother, he's kinfolk, so he's going to become a werewolf when he, you know. The Italian guy's a mage, and that'll be great. It's a great idea for whatever, Mike. But anyway.
Music-wise, the one thing, two things. The operatic sort of bits, the chanty type bits, sounded like the Mr. Bean theme. And
I don't like Mr. Bean.
The very traditional Irish music that was in it.
I
would love it if there was a film that was made, you know, in America with American characters and stuff, which had a foreign character who was, or supposed to be like somehow connected with foreign stuff, who did not have music that was connected with that country. Like this one. Would it have killed them to have them walking out at the start of the film out into Boston and not have fucking Irish folk music playing?
I don't ever hear Irish folk music, ever. And, like, I walk home Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights from work, right through, like, this area that goes through several different pubs. We've got live music. I never hear Irish folk music. Do you know what I hear? They either have their sound system cranked up way loud, and it's, you know, top of the pop hits from, like, BBC One, Radio 1, or it's, you know, like, some guy singing drunkenly in the mic, or, like, they were cranking Amy McDonald the other day, and she's Scottish, for Christ's sake. I literally, like, I never hear Irish music over here. When you're in a shopping center, they've got on Radio 1, or they've got on BBC Foilside.
Radio 1 is a sort of pop station.
I, like, literally, the first time I came to Ireland, I flew into Dublin from Philadelphia, and I was on the tram to take me to where I was meeting up with a friend of mine. And the first song that I heard played in actual for reals Ireland was Lady Gaga. It was Poker Face. And I was like, just goes to show.
Like, my issue with this whole thing, it's not just in this one, this is across the board. Like in Captain America Civil War, would it have killed them to have Black Panther turn up and not have traditional African-ish music playing? Would it really... If they did this with American characters in American films...
It should have been Lady Black Mombasa. They were the group that did all the Lifesavers commercials, like, ooh, do, Lifesavers, yum.
Well, not suggesting that.
Somebody go and get bits of Black Panther footage and send it to the Lifesavers advert from Lady Black Mombasa.
But if films did this to American characters, every single fucking time a Yank turns up...
John Philip Sousa!
Either that, or it would be the fucking Captain America, first Avenger, sort of, you know, peppy American music. Just imagine it. You got RoboCop turns up and it's suddenly the fucking 1940s American patriotic music.
Or like big, like, you know, 1940s, like, big band kind of thing.
Yeah, or Hail to the Chief or something. It's like...
Nope. Only for the president.
Please, imagine this sort of... Like, find this kind of music and attach it to, like, Indiana Jones or whatever. And... You can see...
Don't disrespect John Williams, because the Raiders March is very good.
I don't care.
You don't care about... She doesn't care about John Williams.
Someone, do this sort of thing.
Poor man.
Do this sort of thing, watch it, and then you can see what every single American film is like if you're not an American. It's really irritating.
But you can't use the Liberty Bell March, though, because that's so heavily associated with Monty Python.
Fanfare for the Common Man? Oh no! Wait, fanfare. They did the.
No, the Liberty Bell March is the Monty Python theme.
I know, but fanfare for the common man. Oh no! Someone did that already. They had made that the theme to Amazing Spider-Man 2. Just watch Amazing Spider-Man 2, and you can turn off within seconds. Because within seconds, you see how ridiculous the whole thing is. Because they did this. They made that song the theme music.
In case any, I highly doubt this will ever happen, but in case any friends of mine who from back in high school wander upon this video, and if you were in the band like me, I will have to say it for Jeff Watson. Band is a religion now, and John Phillips, who's your God. That's actually something that our band director, Jack Hans, really said. Google it. Actually, it's probably not on Google.
Why was Billy Connolly trying to be Irish?
I don't know. I was like, could you not have hired an actual Irish actor? Like, Billy Connolly is just so known for being Scottish.
I'm just wondering, did the guy who made this...
they're all the same.
Did he hire Billy Connolly not realizing he wasn't Irish?
He probably showed up to do the reading and be like, oh, laddie, hand me the script.
He probably couldn't tell. He's like, should I do this in my actual accent or should I put an Irish accent? And he's like, you're not speaking Irish now? Ah!
Yeah, and that's the part where they're like showing off all of the language and I'm like, they're not speaking Irish.
Actually, according to TV tropes, they did, but we missed it.
Oh. Maybe that was cut in the UK. Really, oh, we'll not have any of that.
So that's
that Republican dissident nonsense in ours.
So that's something we brought up.
This is somebody cutting film.
They seem to speak German, like Slovakian, Russian, and everything. But as far as we could tell, they didn't speak any Irish.
You have to do an. I think at a certain point you have to either do a GCSE or an A level. Well, the Republic equivalent of it in Irish.
In the Republic, yeah.
A girl that I go to uni with, she had to, and she was like rattling off the phrases. I'm like, I can say crack, I can say sláinte. And can't say it. And I know I can I don't know how to pronounce it, but I can recognize the word for exit, slí amach, because you see it all the time in the airport.
There's Srad, I think it's pronounced.
Is that road?
Yeah.
Okay.
The street. But
these are all the Irish we're learning here.
Yeah, you don't have to learn Irish up in Northern Ireland.
But you know why? Because as Alan would say, because you're in the United Kingdom. There's no clover leaves here.
Okay.
Alan's a unionist.
Why the two main characters? If they're from Boston, why not get actors to put on Boston accent? Why did you get Americans to do Irish?
No, because they were born in the Republic. Their characters.
Why didn't they get Irish actors?
I don't know.
If they're filming in Boston, there's going to be a couple of them around. Why did they get Americans to do bad Irish accents? You could have had Americans doing bad Boston accents.
Because
they do that all the time in America.
I know. I'm just saying. Oh, the Boston accent is really rough on the ears. I'm sorry if you're from Boston, friends. I really am.
The accent thing. If any of you have played Assassin's Creed Rogue, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But the main character in that. Is the most wonderful example of terrible Americans writing Irish I've come across. He's called Shay Patrick Cormac.
That's a lot of Irish.
That is 3 Irish first names put together as a full name. So you got him, and he's meant to be from New York, but he's got
because I go to uni with a guy named Cormac, but then there's someone in my class who has their last name as Cormac.
I know, it can be both, but those 3 are all 3 first names. They're also...
If you have 3 first names, write the show.
I think Patrick's the only one which is not also not a surname, but so it's a name that technically could exist. It just sounds ludicrous. It's the equivalent of having someone called
people call Romani
Adam William Christian, and it's technically possible. It just sounds ridiculous.
If your name is Adam William Christian, write the show. No, because they're probably that sounds like a very either very English or very American name.
It sounds ridiculous. But it's a sort of ridiculous that happens in real life, but you shouldn't do it in fiction because it just takes you out of it. So with this guy, he's got this terrible Irish accent, and if I remember correctly, he's actually played by an Irish guy. So this is the equivalent of the old man in RoboCop, whenever he was in Halloween 3.
He has the Uncle Tom.
Where he had to do a ridiculous Irish accent. In Halloween 3, he played the guy with the masks. And... so sometimes Irish actors will be hired to do American things, and they will have to do this ludicrous Irish accents.
I've heard people from the Republic that I have met. Now, I mean, people from the South, like from Donegal, or from Dublin, not like Donegal, because the North has its own distinctive thing going on. Yeah. Don't sound at all like the stereotypical Irish accent that we like. Follow. There's a YouTube channel called Facts, FACTS period, and
it's a bit like BuzzFeed but Irish,
but awesome. And they're out of Dublin. And, there's a lot of, real Irish people watch, Irish adverts, and it's great crack, so check that out, but...
Ironically, there's an episode where they watch Boondock Saints for the first time, and they give a funny commentary.
Oh, that's grand. Or that they also taste test.
Well, they watched the uncut version because they had the court scene in there.
Yeah, we didn't have that. But so I hope that y'all, because we have like, I think 4 minutes of battery power left. I hope you raised a Guinness and ate your corned beef hash and cabbage and just this was everything you dreamed of, patron. When you said, "Oh dear, Amanda Hagan, I really want you to do
this film is on the 90s indie crime sort of tongue-in-cheek stylistic thing. The spectrum. It's on the bad side of ridiculous. You know, you got the good side of ridiculous, which is where Tarantino usually hangs out in that era. He's moved on from crime now. He just mostly does westerns for some reason. But this one sort of, it goes over the line and, you know, pukes on it once or twice and just hangs around there.
Because although
you've got their
sad
fucking...
because your man who played Doc in Fraggle Rock was the old bartender with Tourette's, and I'm like, oh, he died.
Oh, was that Doc from Fraggle Rock? Okay.
Yeah. Well, the American version of Fraggle Rock. You guys, in the UK, you guys had a different Doc. He lived in a lighthouse.
Okay.
Our Doc was your man.
But like, you've got the fucking Latin prayer. You've got the ridiculous overacting. You've got I know everyone loves that it was a firefight scene, but that looks like a parody. It really does.
Well, see, the thing is that like that part was kind of screwball. Like with him reenacting it becomes more and more and more and more over the top. Like in the beginning, he's just like until you get the "it was a fire for that," because that's the last reconstruction.
Yeah, he starts off insane, and then he goes even more insane. It does not gel together for me at all.
I'm sorry, but
it's not your fault. I already wasn't a big fan of the film.
Hey.
You love it and you defended it well, so...
Well, you know, I mean, it's one of the... Well, but you know, and this is the thing that I say a lot at Backseat Critiques where you didn't like it. I said, was I entertained? If I was entertained and it wasn't actively shown, I think it was entertaining. It has merits, you know.
Fair enough.
There you go. So, again, Patron, we hope that it was all you dreamed of and more. And if you want us to do a Backseat Critique, and it could be anything crazy, even like, I don't know... Serbian film, but she's already seen it.
Actually, I haven't.
Oh, well, there you go. See, become a patron, and then it could be you.
There's a reason I haven't seen a Serbian film, and that's because, like Human Centipede, I want to watch it with people who would be freaked out by it, because I wouldn't be. I'd be perfectly fine. I want to watch other people's reactions to watching it.
Fair play, but we have 1 minute of battery power left, and it could go off at any time. So, bye, you guys.
Yeah. Thank
Cheers.
you very much, and hope you enjoy the next video.
I'll turn it off.